Well, even with today's rain, the signs of the drought are still very much apparent. The crunchy grass, the low rivers and lakes, and the suffering crops. News Channel 18's Jesse Wheeler reports trees also may need some help fighting the drought. Jesse?
Yeah, that's right, Dan. It's easy to forget about trees being in danger from the severe drought because of their size, and the signs of their stress aren't as dramatic as, say, corn or grass. But members of Tree Lafayette say forgetting to water your trees this summer could have big impacts next year. That's the sight and sound of water being fed into drought-stricken soils for the plants in a local garden to soak up. Sprinklers and garden hoses have become a more common sight than ever this summer as people have become concerned about their lawns and gardens. But what about the trees?
If you want to keep your trees, you have to water them.
When you think of hardy vegetation, trees might be at the top of the list, but I just picked these leaves off a tree here in Lafayette. Now the drought's really starting to take its toll on the trees too. Just check out this tree. Some of it's doing okay, although showing signs of stress with curling. Some of it, not so much. For a tree, the first signs of stress are the first signs of death.
They're already in distress. We've got brown leaves here. We've got, look at this. Look at how much death has occurred right there. And that's a big tree.
Absolutely.
That's a huge investment.
And the investment of a little bit of time and money during the week to keep your trees green now may save you some green next year. Because if you don't take care of the trees now, it could cost you.
Take care of it now. It's cheaper because if you have to cut down a dead tree, that's costly. If you have to remove a stump, that's costly. To water is the cheapest part to save a tree right now.
Some signs your tree is stressed and in need of water include any curling or browning of leaves, no growing of new leaves, and splitting of the bark at the base of the trunk. Most trees need about 10 gallons of water a week for every 1.5 inches in diameter. But if you haven't been watering, Gail Brock says 15 to 20 gallons of water per week may be needed to catch up. And when you are watering your tree, slowly hose the water into the soil like this. It gives the water a chance to absorb deeper into the soil so it reaches the root system. Try this test to see if you've watered enough.
If you cannot put a screwdriver in the ground, the ground is already dry, then you know you've got a problem and you need to add more water to that ground.
Tree Lafayette has spent hundreds of hours this summer watering well over 1,000 city trees to keep them healthy and alive through this relentless drought. Also, they say you won't be able to see the full extent of the damage until next spring. So even though your tree may look healthy now, you may be in for a surprise next year if you aren't watering. Jesse Wheeler, News Channel 18.
Good information. Thanks, Jesse.